Okay, what if I told you that you could reframe pretty much any struggle you're facing, financial, personal, emotional, with just three simple words? Seriously. Today, we're going to dive into this really powerful mental technique that does exactly that. It's a way to shift your whole perspective on a problem. And you're not ignoring it, not at all. You're actually remembering it from the future. Sounds wild, right? Let's get into how it works. So picture this. There's a man standing with his grandson, and they're looking at, well, a pile of rubble. It's not a finished building at all. But the man says with complete certainty, I remember when this was empty. Now, he's not lying. He's just seeing the finished reality so clearly in his mind that the empty, rubble-filled lot, it's already a memory to him. And that right there, that's the absolute core of the technique we're breaking down today. So what was that grandfather actually doing? He was creating something called a memory of the future. Yeah, I know. It sounds like a total paradox, right? But it's an incredibly powerful mental tool. It's all about using your words, using language to just transport yourself to a future where your goal is already done. It's finished. And from that vantage point, you can look back on today's struggle like it's ancient history. And this, right here, is where the real magic happens. Look, your brain is a logical machine, for sure. But here's the thing. You can guide its focus. So when you frame a problem you're having right now as something that happened in the past, you're not really tricking your mind. It's more like you're redirecting it. You totally bypass that feeling of anxiety, that stuck feeling, and instead, you fire up the parts of your brain that are all about problem solving and getting things done. So, the big question is, why does this work so incredibly well? Well, it all boils down to a really simple but super effective principle. We're going to call it the timeline shift. It's all about the psychological punch that comes from making one tiny change in how you talk, just shifting from the present tense to the past tense. That's it. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Just look at this direct comparison. On the left, you've got I am broke. Oof, that feels like an identity, doesn't it? It's permanent, it's heavy, and it just traps you right here in this moment of lack. But now look to the right. I remember when I was broke. Can you feel that shift? It's huge. You can only say that from a place where you're not broke anymore. The problem just became an event, a part of your story, not who you are right now. The feeling just flips from being stuck to, hey, I've already overcome this. And this really brings us to the core of the whole thing, the timeline shift. It's an active, conscious choice you make. It's the mental act of stepping into the shoes of your successful future self and looking back at today's problem like it's already in the rearview mirror. See, you're not just wishing for a better future, you're actively remembering it into existence. The logic here is just inescapable, and this is why it's so brilliant. I mean, think about it. You can't genuinely remember being worried about a bill unless you're not worried about it anymore, right? You can't remember being sick until you're healthy. So by using this phrase, you're basically forcing your subconscious to accept that the solution isn't just possible. It's already a done deal. It has to be. All right, so we've got the theory down. That's great. But now let's get practical. How do you actually use this? Think of this as your personal three-word eraser for anxiety. It's a simple tool you can start using literally right now to start building the reality you want. And the process? It's incredibly simple. Seriously, just 3 steps. First, you identify the struggle. Whatever it is, a bill that's bugging you, a creative block, that little voice of self-doubt. Step 2, and this is so important, you have to look right at it. Don't shy away. Face the bill, acknowledge the feeling, whatever it is. And then, step 3, you just state the phrase, confidently. I remember when. Okay, let's take a real-world example. Let's say you're holding a bill, and it's just causing you a ton of stress. Instead of letting that anxiety spiral out of control, you look at it and you say, either out loud or just in your head, I remember when I worried about this bill. Bam. Instantly, you've reframed the entire situation. It's not an active threat anymore, it's just a challenge you've already conquered. And hey, this isn't just for external stuff like bills. It's incredibly powerful for those internal struggles too. Things like imposter syndrome or that nagging self-doubt. Just acknowledge that feeling is there and then declare, I remember when I doubted myself. What you're doing is asserting that confidence is your default setting, and this doubt, well, it's just a fleeting little thing from your past. So, the real goal here is to make this mental shift a habit, It should become your new default setting for how you approach any challenge. This is way more than just a one-time trick. It's about fundamentally rewriting your internal reality from the ground up. So let's just quickly recap the biggest benefits here. First, it instantly shifts your emotional state from that feeling of lack to a feeling of accomplishment. It also detaches your identity from whatever the problem is. And crucially, it forces your brain to get on board with a successful outcome. It basically turns today's anxiety into, you guessed it, just another memory.
And this is a really critical point, so I want to make sure it lands. This is not about denial. It's not about pretending a problem doesn't exist. You look right at the bill, you acknowledge the doubt. This is about denying the problem's power over your present and your future. It's a declaration. It's you saying, I'm choosing a new perspective, one from the finish line.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to carry with you. Go ahead and take a look at a challenge you're facing right now. It can be big, it can be small, doesn't matter. Now ask yourself, what memory of the future are you going to create today?